Hiya, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I have lots of different techniques to share with you. Some ink blending, die cutting, embossing, you name it. But all of these techniques are simple. Save me figuring out that I don't have Velcro on this and keep trying to put the pad on. But anyway, I get it sorted. I have some distress oxides here, including the newish Uncharted Mariner. And here are a couple photos of the finished cards. I am chuffed to bits with how this turned out. It is so fun and textured and kind of unexpected. So thanks for joining me on this mission here to create this fun card. I'm starting with the salvage patina down the center, and then I realize I better start from the edge. So I'm kind of going old school with these blending foams. Like I said, once I figured out that I had a broken one, but I have a kind of similar colored pad. It may not be the exact pad assigned to that color, but close enough. And I'm just blending these three colors together on this panel of Nina Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound cardstock. And this Uncharted Mariner is just gorgeous, and it blends in so beautifully with the salvage patina. Now, as you can see, my blend is not that great. I do end up working at it. That's kind of how it is with the oxides. You can kind of just keep building and reworking your blend as you go, because the pigment components of it allow it to kind of build on itself. Now here I'm going to go crazy with the splatters. I'm going to come in all different ways. I have some water here with perfect pearls in it, and I'm using the water reactive components to just kind of give it that cool distressed look, and I'm using paper towel to pick it up, but it does leave some of the pretty shimmer of the perfect pearls behind. I'm also going to use my Yuli metallic watercolors and this white, I can't think of the name of it, it's almost like a gouache or some sort of white paint, but I will link it in the video description box below as well as all the other products that I used. But I'm just putting a smear of it on this little acrylic block, and I spritzed it with some water, and I'm just using a small brush and then also this fan brush to flick the paint right off the edge of this acrylic block. So I'm making a bit of a mess, but that's the beauty of this gorgeous new glass mat that I'm working on. That was a new purchase as well. I'll link the information on that, but it's my favorite and I love it, and it's magnetized and it's so great. So if you want to learn about that small company in Utah, like I said, look up the glass board in my video description box. But now I got to come in with some black. Like I said, I'm making this a very textured background. I'm going all out for this one, but I'm going to use some black, some gold, white, water with the perfect pearls. So we got all sorts of layers of splatter here, and I use my Wow embossing heat tool just to kind of dry this and kind of speed along the process, because I'm not patient and I want to keep moving on the cards. So just going to dry this off, make sure my work surface is clean, and then I have the next step, which is this adhesive backed foam that I get from Amazon. And I picked a green that's really pretty and matches the Twisted Citron color. And I'm going to cut the panel down with the stitched edge rectangle dies from LDRS, and then I have this new Hooray die that I got from Lawn Fawn recently in a haul video. So I cut down the panel first with the stitched edge, and now I'm going to open up this beauty, this big old honkin' die, and then I'm going to cut that right front and center out of this panel that I splattered to the high heavens. So, but first I'm going to cut it also out of this fun foam. So I'm just going to kind of cut it down to size. So I'm going to have one die cut of this fun foam, and then I'm also going to die cut out of the ink blended panel, and you'll see what I'm going to do to really kind of take this to the next level. So that is one big continuous die, except for the little tittle on the exclamation point. Actually, I don't know if it's called the tittle when it's the dot for the exclamation point. It might have a totally different name. Let me know in the comments if you know this. So a tittle is for an I, but is it also for the dot on an exclamation point? That's what I want to know. So anyway, I run this through off screen through my die cutting machine. And so now I have that cut out as well out of the panel. And then I do want to take it to the next level in terms of texture. So I am going to emboss the Hooray. So I'm going to pop it out. I'm just kind of trying to keep the little innards in their general vicinity, because I am going to puzzle piece this all back together. I hadn't used this die before, so I wasn't sure how fiddly it was going to be, but it ended up not too bad. So I want to make sure the hooray stands off the background. It's going to a little bit because of the foam. I'm popping it up, but I want it to stand out even more so. So this is a fun way to use your embossing folders. This is 3D embossing. It's called angled mosaic. It's one of my absolute favorite from Altenew. But I run that through off screen through my die cutting machine, and look at that amazing texture. So now that's going to really help it kind of pop off the background since it's going to be the same color. So now I'm using little dots of liquid glue. This is Barely Art liquid glue, and I do have the precision tip, so it allows me to lay down little thin strips of glue or little dots. But I'm just going to sandwich that, put that right on top of it, and kind of put an acrylic block on it just to give it a minute to kind of cure with the glue. So same thing with the little dot, just going to attach the top portion to it, and then really it's just a matter of puzzle piecing it all together. So this outer frame portion I'm going to attach directly to a card base. So that's Neenah Classic Crest Solar White 110 pound, and yeah, all my little trying to keep the pieces in place was in vain because I just kind of swipe them right off onto my glass mat. But honestly, it wasn't hard in this case. It wasn't a million little tiny pieces, so it was no big deal. So I lay that down, attach that, and then the next step is to lay down the hooray, and then the rest is really easy peasy to just kind of piece those little fiddly bits back in. So I'm just removing the backer from the foam tape. It made it like a glorified sticker, and then I'm just putting some liquid glue in the openings and using my jewel picker tool just to kind of puzzle piece these back in. I realized that was the blue one was upside down, I think, technically, but oh well, you can't tell. It looks fine. That's the beauty of the splattery. You don't really have to be that concise, but just putting these little pieces parts back in, the R and the A and all of that. And I added a little sentiment strip. This is from Tailored Expressions. It's just white heat embossed on black cardstock, and it has a fishtail banner, and I'm just liquid gluing that down. I did end up putting a little tiny bit of foam tape, like a foam strip, just off the edge here on that U because I didn't want it to get crushed down because it wasn't very supported. So had I thought of it in advance, I would have put that down first instead of trying to kind of finagle it in there, but it wasn't too bad. So just wanted to give it even support if I put it through the post. But you can see this awesome dimension. You have the cool matching foam color on the side, and then the texture from the embossing. So lots of fun tools, lots of fun techniques in one card, but overall very simple in design and not difficult. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing. I have more videos here below for you to check out, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you. Bye.